One of the more unique selections that happened during this draft was the New England Patriots taking Cole Strange, obviously a guy who many do not feel is a star player, but they, took him as though he was going to be a star player anyways. He's a, third round grade on the consensus board, gets picked in round 1. We saw Sean McVay kind of saying he was hoping that he might fall. Strange might fall to the Rams, who didn't have a top 100 pick, and that didn't happen, obviously. So is this a bad selection? Well, first, I've already talked about, I made a whole video on how it'll either be out before this video or after it, but, within 24 hours of this video. So check that out, just about how basically reaches almost always are bad decisions. Like, it's very rare that someone reaches and then it ends up being like, oh, you were right about that. Almost never happens. The media consensus big board tends to be more right than when a team reaches, although steals, maybe not so much. But again, you can check that video out. So right off the bat, I'm going to say not great value. Don't fall too much in love with your evaluation process. Be willing to, adjust to other people's big board and maybe, wait around. And if he doesn't fall that far, be okay with that. That's probably the move 99 out of 100 times. And the other thing is, just looking at some of Cole Strange's numbers, for example, we're going to get into the film as well, I promise, but also looking at some of his numbers, not spectacular. So first I want to show this chart because I am about to show some PFF grades. People hate PFF grades. There's a subset of people that really don't like PFF grades. But again, I'm using this chart just to show, hey, PFF grades do a pretty good job at certain positions of indicating who's going to be a good player. So this is for offensive line. Guys who grade in the 90s typically have an evaluation score. That's something that I arbitrarily came up with, which was, how good are you on a scale of 1 to 4? The average for guys who had a 90 plus PFF grade in college had a very good score, 80 plus in college, less good of a score, and then 70 less good of a score. So this is a very good chart to use. This is something that to me indicates, hey, guys who have better PFF grades do end up having better careers. That's just an objective fact here. I guess slightly objective because you have to buy into the fact that I can successfully kind of evaluate who are good offensive linemen, but as long as you buy into that, you can buy into the fact that, okay, seems like there's at least something here. You look at Cole Strange's numbers and they're solid. They're in that middle tier of it's not bad whatsoever. His run blocking is a little better than his pass blocking. What you see is, the PFF grade, where that ranked. This is using FBS and FCS ranking. So you see, next column is where it ranked. So 88th in pass blocking, 39th in run blocking. So for a sample size of over 1,000 guys, it's very impressive. Again, he's a NFL level player for sure. And it seems like kind of these numbers right away align with him being a solid guard, which, looking at his tape, that kind of checks out to me. Like, for example, a play like this, where what's going to happen is that, so he's going to start off blocking, and it seems like this was maybe supposed to be a double team, but it's not really going to end up having to be one, due to the fact that there's going to be the player who is going to go up to block at the second level is going to crash in very quickly, given the fact that it's a 3rd and 1. So really just watch what happens once this play starts. Look, as you see, so Strange is able to, do a good job of getting himself in position to help clear out that running lane. So that's good. And again, I'm choosing plays from this game specifically because one of the negatives that people will say about Strange is, well, he had a lower level of competition. However, his, if his PFF grade against Kentucky was just as good as it was in a typical game for him, and he still played pretty well here. So I wouldn't really factor that in too much. I think he's still a fine player. Look, as you see, he does a great job of clearing up that running lane and allows it to get through. So just good play from Strange, and quite frankly, he does make his blocks definitely way more often than he misses them. Now, going over here, this is one negative I noticed. It's not a massive one, but it is something I noticed. This play's an okay example of it. The next play, I think, is a better one. He's not the most athletic. It's just what I noticed on the field. Trying to block guys in open space, not really where he thrives. Like, look, as you see, so he is going to, move up and try to block that defensive back. Listen, blocking a defensive back, not easy for an offensive lineman. You're a bigger guy than him. You're going to have to find a way to make it happen. As you see, he wasn't quite able to get over there. It was not the end of the world, though, because the way he got beat was to the inside, which allowed the receiver to still have enough time to get into the end zone. So if you're going to get beat, that's the way you want to get beat. So it's not the end of the world necessarily, and that's why I say it's not maybe the best example. But like this next play is a much better one, where you see him on where he is on this play. He is going to be setting up a screen here. Look, as you see, once he gets up and starts to get moving here, took him a little bit longer to get out right there, and then just watch how long it's going to take him to finally find a block. Look, as you see, he is going to, really not get over there at all. So that kind of stuff, not really where he thrives. In the screen game, seem to really struggle at that stuff. So maybe Belichick sees something that he feels like he can fix. Listen, who am I to criticize Belichick? All I can do is watch the film, see who this guy is, and then give you my evaluation of him. And again, something like this. I thought he did this stuff pretty well. In a very traditional run blocking situation, this is where he played well. And so again, they needed a guard, and I really do feel like Strange will be a solid player for them. As you see, Strange is going to be able to get up to the second level and make that block. Very good job by him, and definitely blocks to the whistle. That's something I noticed as well. He is someone who, if Belichick likes guys who do that, he is someone who does that. So hey, there's another aspect there. Let's go over to something like this now. So for Cole Strange, he is going to double team an interior defensive lineman with his tackle and then get up to the next level. So again, very similar to that last play. And once again, you're going to see him do a good job of being able to pull this off and get to the next level and make the block. So again, on these traditional plays, that is seemingly where he does a good job and where he has some success. So there's reason to believe Strange is a good prospect, even reason to believe maybe he's better than that third grade evaluation. I think that third round grade evaluation, not third grade in school. I think that there's tons of reason to believe that he could outplay that initial evaluation. But again, reaching on guys is just rarely not a good strategy because yes, it is true. There are third rounders who outperform first rounders immediately every year. That's objectively a true thing. It just is. That being said, it is very rare for you to pick out which third rounder that is going to be. Whether you're just someone sitting on the couch watching football or Bill Belichick, when you guess who's going to be the successful third rounder, it's just difficult. Not to say that it can't happen, and not to say that it doesn't happen. It happens all the time. And Belichick really, with offensive line, does an incredible job of this stuff. So Cole Strange is probably going to be a good player, and that's kind of why I think it's fair to say both things. I feel similar to Quay Walker in that selection. One, this probably wasn't a good pick. Two, this makes the Patriots better and is going to be something that helps them. Both things can be true because the goal of the draft is not to help your team because everyone helps your team. You're getting guys on your team that inherently is going to help you. The goal is to maximize the draft capital you currently have. I don't know if Belichick did that entirely, although again, he did trade back already. Maybe he couldn't find another trade back partner. Maybe he knew some intel. I heard there's some narrative I saw that it was Jason Light of the Buccaneers who tricked Belichick into thinking he was going to draft Cole Strange, so Belichick had to. I don't think Jason Light is out to trick Bill Belichick. This seems like a weird narrative. People love their narratives. I don't think that's the case. What I think happened was Belichick just liked Strange, which, listen, I like Strange. He's a solid player. Just don't know if he was worth this pick necessarily. But again, was he the next best guard unavailable? Next best guard available? You could make that argument. It just feels like he was a reach. But again, maybe this is a need pick, which that's kind of the one way I'm okay with reaches is if you're drafting for need. Typically, I don't love drafting for need anyway because you have to reach often, but that's typically what you do, right? Is if you're drafting for need, then you reach on someone because you want to make sure that you don't end up having to go into next season without a guard. I guess the main thing I'm confused about is you got rid of Shaq Mason to save $7 million. Yes, his cap hit was larger, but all you saved was $7 million. So you save $7 million to get rid of a very good guard and then spend a first-round pick on a guy who many people had a third-round evaluation on for that guard. Strange has to hit, or this is an atrocious move. This is really bad team building. If Strange is just if he's like a subpar, kind of okay, 25th best guard in the league, that's a bad selection. So that's really what has to happen, and that's what many people feel like Strange is. So that's why I'm a little bit hard on it, even though I actually like Strange as a player. I just think he got overdrafted. But what do you guys think? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments below. What were your thoughts on Cole Strange to the Patriots? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.